Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Morgenroth.
for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dreams that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
That was the magnificent David Morgenroth on piano and the lovely Rachel Horner joining him in song. The first of more than 20 local performers you'll be seeing tonight in the 4th annual Who's Who Missoula Revue. Yeah! Hop on board as we take you around the world in 90 minutes.
And we're all in for a real treat tonight, Greg. And speaking of Greg, it is my pleasure to introduce my co-host for the evening, Mr. Greg Johnson, Artistic Director for the Montana Repertory Theater and Professor of Acting and Directing for the UM School of Theater and Dance.
And this is my co-host, Teresa Waldorf, Adjunct Professor in the School of Theater of Dance and Educational Outreach Coordinator for the Montana Repertory Theater.
And speaking of the Montana Repertory Theater, tonight's show is being co-produced by the Montana Rep and the Missoula Sunrise Rotary. And you'll be hearing more about both of them as the evening progresses.
Mademoiselle, you could not look more lovely tonight.
Thank you, Greg. Why are you speaking in a French accent?
You know tonight's theme is around the world in 90 minutes. I thought I would get us off to a good start.
Well, cheerio, spit spot. Carry on, old boy.
Okay. Willkommen to both our audience and our performers.
Und a giant Dankeschön to all of tonight's generous sponsors. Their generous support enables the Missoula Sunrise Rotary to continue its ongoing programs for Missoula youth and will lend a hand towards UM School of Theater and Dance and the Montana Repertory Theater upcoming scholarships. And our sponsors for this evening are Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation, Community Medical Center, Forest Business Network, Rocky Mountain Development Group, Missoula Federal Credit Union, Same Sky Tickets, Allegiance Benefit Plan Management, Anderson, Zermulin and Company, PC, the bookstore of the University of Montana, D.A. Davidson & Co., Dr. Brett Felton, Envirocon, Pitchfork Investment Company, Plum Creek, Sashco Inc., Deals on Wheels, Everlog Systems, First Interstate Bank, First Security Bank, Garlington Lawn and Robinson, Peg Novotny, and St. Patrick Hospital Foundation.
Wow. That's a lot of folks.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, let's hear it again for David and Rachel. David has performed across the United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, and South America. And Rachel is a junior at Sentinel High School who regularly performs at MCT and has been a finalist in Missoula's First Night Idol for 2 years.
Next up, Mary and Bill Muse. Mary is the director of UM's Adams Center, and Bill is the UM Vice President of Planning and Budgetary Analysis. They'll be singing an original song. Did you know that Bill and Mary both work at the University of Montana now, but actually toured as professional musicians from 1993 to 2000?
No, I did not know that.
Well, they did.
And did you know that they're packing up their bags and going back to Texas, so this is their farewell performance in Missoula?
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, here they are singing Hard Road to Hoe.
Well, Lenny Ray took Susie by the hand, said they were gonna farm his granddaddy's land, but the rains didn't come just the way Lenny planned, and that's a hard old road to hoe. There was a time Sue was a Georgia peach, cream of the crop, she seemed way out of reach. Now there's 4 runny noses sitting side by each, and a hard old road to hoe. A hard road to hoe when your dreams won't grow, pulling weeds and putting roots in the sand. Bankers and lawyers circling the land. Buzzards don't kill, they just take what they can.
And it's a hard road,
A hard road to hoe,
and it's a hard road.
a hard road to hoe. Now the barn burned down and the tank went dry. Then he gave away the cows instead of watching them die. Took a night job in town just to try to get by, and that's a hard old road to hoe. Then Lenny said to Susie, girl, I wouldn't blame you if you decide to leave. Just tell me when you're through.
She said, boy, don't you know this is my life too? It's just a hard old road to hoe.
A hard road to hoe when your dreams won't grow, pulling weeds and putting roots in the sand. Bankers and lawyers circling the land. Buzzards don't kill, they just take what they can.
And it's a hard road,
A hard road to hoe,
and it's a hard road.
a hard road to hoe,
It's a hard road,
a hard road to hoe,
and it's a hard road.
hard road to hoe, a hard road, a hard road to hoe.
Thanks, Bill and Mary, and may the road always rise to meet you as you head down to Texas. The next act is a veritable pot of gold. Missoula Sunrise Rotary President in 2010, Rotarian of the Year, Bill St. John, doing A Wish from an Irish Genie.
Top of the evening to you. Let me tell you a story about an old Irishman who's taking a little walk in Belfast. As he looks to his right, he sees a little glimmer. So he walks over there and picks it up, and sure enough, it's a little lantern. So he gives it a rub to get some of the tarnish off of it, and out pops a little Irish genie. The genie says, "It's been a heck of a day, lad. I'll give you but one wish." So without hesitation, the old man reaches into his pocket and pulls out a map of Ireland and hands it to the genie and says, "This is a map of me homeland. There's been nothing but fighting and strife my whole life. All I want is for peace throughout all of Ireland." And the genie looks at it and says, "That's a hell of a wish, lad. I don't think I can pull one that big off. Can I do something else for you?" So the old man thinks and says, "I've always loved me Irish whiskey. I've lost me a wife, a house, and a couple jobs because of it. Could you make it so this Irish lad never wants to taste whiskey again?" The genie looks at him and says, you better hand me that map back. Now don't be looking at me bum when you walk off. I feel a little hippie in me kilt.
Oh, laddie, that was inspiring.
Oh, so yes, it was.
I don't know about you, Greg, but it has only been several minutes, and I feel like I'm more than 1/3 of the way around the world already.
And to take us even further, here's Chief Administrator Officer for the city of Missoula, Bruce Bender, doing an old Irish pub song called Black Velvet Band.
So we traveled to an Irish pub, maybe in Dublin or Belfast or Boston, Butte or Missoula, where Irish ballads are sung by all. You get the hint? So you've all had a little beverage. Imagine you're in a pub, and now you need to fill the story, the song, and you'll want to sing. This is a story of a lad who falls for a beautiful colleen. But in a typical Irish fashion, it does not go well. So if you've ever fallen for someone, and if you can feel for the lad, you want to sing. And of course, I work in city government, and I'm used to getting a lot of public input, public involvement. So I'm expecting some return here. So anyway, you get to participate. We will not exclude you. So here we go with the refrain, which is your part. So you got to repeat after me. So here's the first refrain. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. So even if you can't sing, you can say that. Okay, try that. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Okay, now you got to sing it. Okay. Her hair, eyes, they shone like the diamonds. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder. And her hair hung over her shoulder. Tied up with a black velvet band. Tied up with a black velvet band. Okay, let's see how we do. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. His story. In a neat little town they called Belfast, apprentice to trade I was bound. And many hours sweet happiness I spent in that neat little town, till bad misfortune came over me that caused me to stray from the land, far away from my friends and relations, to follow the black velvet band. Here you go. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. The lad falls for the colleen. As I went walking down Broadway, not meaning too long for to stay, but when who should I meet but a pretty young girl a-traipsing along the highway. She was both fair and handsome. Her neck, it was just like a swan, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. A mistake. While on a walk with this pretty fair maid and a gentleman passing us by, I knew she meant the doing of him by the look in her roguish black eyes. A gold watch she took from his pocket and slipped it right into my hand. And the very next words that I said to her, bad luck to your black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. He's going to Australia. Next morning before judge and jury, for a trial I had to appear. And the judge, he said, you young fellow, the case against you is quite clear. And 7 long years is your sentence. You're going to Van Diemen's Land, far away from your friends and relations, away from the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. So here's the lesson. So come all you jolly young fellas, I'd have you take warning by me. Whenever you're out on the liquor, me lads, beware of the pretty Pauline. She'll fill you with whiskey and porter until you're not able to stand. And the very next thing that you know, me lads, you've landed in Van Diemen's Land. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You would think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band.
Thank you, Bruce. For a moment, I thought I was back in a pub in Connemara. And now back to the good old USA for selections from Abraham Lincoln by good friends Susan Hay Patrick and Bob Brown. Susan is the Chief Executive Officer for the United Way in Missoula, and former State Senator Bob Brown is currently retired and teaching a course on the Civil War at Flathead Valley Community College. So here's Susan Hay Patrick and my favorite Republican, Bob Brown.
Abraham Lincoln was a gifted, better try it again here. Abraham Lincoln was a gifted and eloquent communicator, as he demonstrated in his eternally great Gettysburg Address. He was also, however, a decisive and effective leader, as he made unmistakably clear to an uncertain nation in his first inaugural address. When Lincoln was inaugurated on March 4th, 1861, not unlike today, our country was deeply divided, with strident voices advocating nullification, which led ultimately to secession. Lincoln signaled his greatness at the very beginning of his presidency, unmistakably confirming that he could take a strong stand and revealing for the first time what he would demonstrate repeatedly, that he stood tallest in time of crisis. The explosive and divisive issue before the nation was slavery. The majority of the people, mostly living in the North, were determined that slavery not expand further. The Southern minority, however, chose to break away from a country that would no longer allow them to move their slaves into Western territories. As the newly elected president of all the people and all the states, Lincoln believed he had a fundamental obligation to hold the country together. His inaugural address was conciliatory, but logical and firm. Here is some of what he had to say. I hold that the union of these states is perpetual. it being impossible to destroy it except by some action not provided for in the Constitution. If the United States be only an association of states in the nature of a contract, can it, as a contract, be peaceably unmade by less than all the parties that made it? One party to a contract may violate it, break it, so to speak, but does it not require all to lawfully rescind it? It follows from these views that no state, upon its own mere motion, can lawfully get out of the Union, and that acts of violence within any state or states against the authority of the government of the United States are insurrectionary and revolutionary. If the minority will not acquiesce, the majority must, or the government must cease. If a minority in such case will secede rather than acquiesce, they make a precedent which in turn will divide and ruin them. Why may not any portion of a new confederacy arbitrarily secede again? Plainly, the central idea of secession is the essence of anarchy. One section of our nation believes slavery is right and ought to be extended, while the other believes it is wrong and ought not to be extended. This is the only substantial dispute. Now, in your hands, my dissatisfied fellow countrymen, and not in mine, is the momentous issue of civil war. The government will not assail you. You can have no conflict without yourselves being the aggressors. You have no oath registered in heaven to destroy this government, while I shall have the most solemn one to preserve, protect, and defend it.
The Gettysburg Address almost never happened. President Lincoln was a relatively last-minute addition to the program that day. It was November 19, 1863, the day the Soldier Cemetery at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania was dedicated. A few months earlier, on that same rolling farmland, 8,000 soldiers had been killed and tens of thousands wounded in the bloody and decisive Battle of Gettysburg. The featured speaker that day was the famed orator Edward Everett. Lincoln was invited almost as an afterthought. In fact, legend has it that the president had so little time to prepare his remarks that he scribbled them on the back of an envelope as his train traveled north from Washington, D.C. That's not true, but it's likely that the president did make last-minute edits to his speech while on the train. Edward Everett spoke for 2 hours that day. Afterward, standing under the shade of a locust tree, Abraham Lincoln spoke just 270 words. Everett later wrote the president, saying that he wished he could have captured with such eloquence in 2 hours what Lincoln had done in just 2 minutes. In the days after the speech, Lincoln hand-wrote 5 copies, one of which he gave to his private secretary, John Hay, an ancestor of mine. In 1916, the family donated that copy to the Library of Congress, where it still resides today. In just 10 brilliantly constructed sentences, Lincoln paid tribute to the dead and issued a challenge to the living. Today, nearly 150 years later, the Gettysburg Address, which Lincoln said the world would little note nor long remember, remains one of the greatest speeches in the history of the world. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us, the living, to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Bob and Susan were accompanied by Adrian Dussault. Whether the weather be fine or whether the weather be not, whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether Mark Hake sings or not. Mark Hake, everyone, singing Sweetheart Tree.
I'm kind of lonely tonight. They say there's a tree in the forest, a tree that will give you a sign. Come along with me to the sweetheart tree. Come and carve your name next to mine. They say if you kiss the right sweetheart, the one you've been waiting for, big blossoms of white will burst into sight, and your love will come true evermore. They say I'm a helpless romantic, the kind who will never settle down. But I will prove them wrong, just you wait and see. I will soon have my special one. They say if you kiss the right sweetheart, should I? What the hell? The one you've been waiting for, big blossoms of white will burst into sight. And your love will be true evermore. Yeah.
Greg, if this is a show about traveling around the world, what in the world was that?
That was our weatherman, Mark Hanka. Let's have a big hand for Mark and all he does in this community. Helping him out were Janine Flatten on the piano and Jim Prendergast helping him out. Let's hear it for them.
And what do you get when you combine the delightful Julie McFarland from Farm Bureau Financial Services, Bitterroot Motors controller Bob Homer, and president of Delano and Morganroth Investment Advisors, Marshall Delano?
Well, it sounds like a recipe for hijinks if I ever heard one. So here they are in a sketch by tonight's director, Bobby Gutierrez.
Hey, stupid. Hey, you want to
All right,
take
you
it out in the
two.
parking lot here, baby?
Hey, quiet down, quiet down. Now, you both know why you are here?
Yeah, 'cause we're cool.
No, it's because you started it all.
You started it. Hey, let's take a little walk
that is
outside
enough.
there.
There will be no fighting in this classroom. Do you understand?
Yes, Mrs. Finkelstein.
Very good. Now let us begin with roll. Yes, Brian?
Present.
Hey, stupid. She knows you're here.
I
There's
was-
only two of us in the room here in front of the teacher.
I was just trying to help out.
You know what would be a big help, Brio, if you took a little hike here and jumped off a cliff?
You know what? That's enough. If you
I
two
was-
don't knock it off, I will be forced to call your parents. Is that clear?
Yes, Mrs. Finkelstein.
All right. Now let's see who's here, shall we? Johnny Wilson.
Yeah.
Brian Kinsinki.
Yes. Oh, here, present.
Very good. Now, the two of you seem to think it would be funny to have a nice little discussion on whose mother was. Now, what was it? Was it... Yes, Johnny.
Fatter.
His is way fatter.
Are you kidding me? Your mother is so fat, she has gravy in her veins, buddy.
I admit my mother is quite large.
Large.
Your mother has an adjustable bed with a forklift.
Hey, take that back.
And
Boys.
the other day at the beach, there was a guy named Raul that put a flag on her and claimed her for Spain.
Hey, let's go outside and have a little chat here, buddy.
If you two don't knock it off, they won't know where to find the bodies.
Ooh, good one, Mrs. F.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
Thank you. Now, on to our geography lesson. Who can tell us where Hungary is on a map?
What, Hungary? I don't know where Hungary is, but I can tell you this, I'm hungry.
Well, maybe you should have eaten lunch. Then your blood sugar wouldn't be so low and you wouldn't be acting like such an ass.
Brian!
Sorry, Mrs. Finkelstein.
Let's forget about Hungary. How about Turkey? Turkey?
Oh, what a good idea. If I had some turkey, I wouldn't be hungry, would I?
You said Hungary.
Hungry, hungry, I'm hungry.
You said Hungary, not hungry. I couldn't
Hungary.
be more hungry.
I'm starving back here.
Forget it. No Hungary, no Turkey. Latvia.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Latvia is not a food, it is a country.
Ooh.
Well, to be fair, it does kind of sound like a food. A cold, gross food with potatoes and fish.
I'll tell you what, I'm no longer hungry back here.
Let's just forget about countries, shall we? Who can tell us how many continents there are, Brian?
According to the Heinz Company, there's 57.
Excuse me?
There's 57. Ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, pickles, relish.
Not condiments, continents!
Oh, that, I don't know.
Hey, suddenly I'm no longer hungry here.
Oh, that's it! I can't take it anymore. I can't. I'm not the one supposed to be in detention. You're supposed to be in detention. I'm trying to make a living here. I was supposed to be a dancer. I was supposed to be on Broadway. I was supposed to see my name in lights. I was supposed to be one of the who's who. But no. That's funny.
What's that, Miss Finkelstein?
I'm hungry.
Hey, you want to share some of my turkey sandwich here?
Oh, why, thank you, Johnny. That would be nice. Pass
Hello.
me.
Hello, Teach.
Pass me the continents.
Ooh.
And now a bit of magic to take you to the amazing world of Harry Potter with feats of chemical wizardry. Hold on to your witch's hat. Gee Whiz and his Hogwarts sampler.
Good evening. I'm glad you're all here because I need to enlist your help. I want to have the University of Montana be not only known as the Harvard of the West, but also the Hogwarts of the West. So I thought I would show you the sort of thing that you can look forward to should we attain this status. For instance, when I go over to Hogwarts and substitute for the potions professors there, I usually teach the second-year students how to make ink. So I brought my ink potions tonight. And it involves not only carefully formulating the potions, but also learning the proper spell and how to apply your wizard powers at the proper moment. So we'll measure out our ingredients here. Some of the wizards complain that this is woman's work because it looks like cooking. Well, it is cooking. We just don't drink or eat all of our recipes, particularly not this one. All right, here's our second potion. Carefully measuring them out. That looks just about right. So now we're ready for the incantation and then the touch with the wizardly finger. So we'll pour them together and pronounce the spell, which goes, when east is east and west is west and one flies over the cuckoo's nest. When red is red and pink is pink, make this water black as ink. Thank you, thank you. It will definitely liven up the chemistry classes if we call it potions instead of chemistry. And the next thing I would probably do is try to teach them how to do a freezing spell. So I've brought a flask here, and we'll try to use a proper incantation to freeze it. Now this incantation involves Latin. A lot of science used to be done in Latin. That was so the Muggles couldn't tell how easy it was. Some of this particular spell is in Spanish. Now my daughter, older daughter Kinnerly, was a Spanish and cello performance major here, and she taught me some Spanish. I can remember the Spanish if it tastes good. So if it's something that I can eat, then I'll know how to order it. And lastly, there's a little bit of English. So the spell goes, medulla oblongata, et echinodermata, chiliana cheese enchilada, help gee whiz freeze this water. And then I snap my wizardly fingers and say, freeze. And you can see the ice forming right before your eyes. And in just a few more seconds, frost will climb the sides of the flask. Oh, this is a good way to ice your drink. And it's totally frozen solid. And lastly, if we hope to be the Hogwarts of the West, we're going to have to somehow figure out what house each of our incoming students belongs to. And unfortunately, The Sorting Hat is over at Hogwarts and probably can't be brought over here. So I have been working diligently to try to perfect a sorting bowl. So instead of having a sorting hat, we'll have a sorting bowl. And here we'll not have the bowl speak, that's a little hard, but we'll have the bowl indicate what house a student belongs to by showing us the color associated with the house. So if a student should belong to Ravenclaw, it should turn blue. Hufflepuff should be yellow. Slytherin should be green. And Gryffindor would be red. So we'll see how well the sorting bowl is tuned up for tonight. So if we could have the lights down a little bit. If to Ravenclaw you're true, have this cauldron burn bright blue. We get a blue fire. If you aspire to Hufflepuff, fill this bowl with yellow stuff, and the fire would turn yellow. If in Slytherin you're seen, have the cauldron show us green. Much more exciting than listen to some old hat croak, right? And finally, if in Gryffindor you'll bed, turn the cauldron into red. And then when the sorting ceremony is at its conclusion, the faculty members will come up and make sure the students all know to respect them, probably by saying something like, "My wizardly might can shape and mold this cauldron into sparks of gold." And finally, show these muggles a wizard's might. Fill this bowl with sparks of white. I am the great and powerful Gee Whiz.
Gee Whiz is also known around here as Garen Smith, Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry at the University of Montana, and was recently named, and you can see why, UM's most inspirational teacher. Up next, it is my pleasure to introduce one of our favorite former students. She was recently crowned the overall bikini champion at the 2010 Big Sky Bodybuilding Competition and the Sunrise Rotary's favorite breakfast server on Wednesday mornings at the Blue Canyon, Miss Tasha Gates, singing Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here you'd think, sure she has everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos of plenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs, I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where want to see them dancing, walking around on the, what do you call them? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's the word again? Streets. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Wandering free, wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend the days warm on the sand? Bet you on land they understand, but they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know what the people know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it, what's the word, burn? When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above? Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world.
That was, what's the word? Enchanting. Thank you, Tasha. And now in their debut performance as Mr. and Mrs. Billadoo, the newlyweds Angela and Scott singing Night and Day.
Night and day, you are the one. Only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you night and day, day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roaring traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, night and day. Under the hide of me, there's an
its torment won't be through till you let me spend my life making love to you day and night, 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 and day.
Oh, Greg, that was so romantic. I was whisked off to a far-off hideaway, and that was just the first half of our show. By the way, Scott is the president of Liquid Planet, and Angela is the communications director for the nonprofit organization Wood for Haiti.
And now, senoras and senoritas, we invite you to travel to the lobby for a short break. We'll be back with lots more amazing acts in the 2011 Who's Who Missoula Revue around the world in 90 minutes. See you soon. Enjoy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Sunrise Rotarian David Morgenroth playing What a Wonderful World. Thank you, David. What class. What absolute class. Beautiful. It is now my absolute pleasure and honor to introduce to you the president of Sunrise Rotary, Mr. Bill St. John.
Good evening. I am glad you're all here to be able to celebrate the 4th annual Who's Who Revue with me. Missoula Sunrise Rotary is a proud sponsor with the Montana Repertory Theater to bring you tonight's wonderful entertainment. The proceeds from tonight's show will go to help supply scholarships for University of Montana students in the Department of Theater and Dance, and of course support Missoula Sunrise Rotary's activities with youth in Missoula. Missoula Sunrise Rotary was chartered in 1989 and is dedicated to supporting the mission of Rotary International by creating a fellowship of local businessmen and professional people committed to improve the Missoula community, the state of Montana, and the world in which we live. Our club is one of 3 Rotary clubs in Missoula, united under the motto of service above self. Rotary's 1.2 million members in more than 34,000 clubs volunteer worldwide for projects to support in education and training, provide clean water, combat hunger and poverty, and improve health and sanitation, and of course to eradicate polio. Since 1985, Rotary clubs throughout the world have raised over $1 billion to end polio. Polio has been reduced from 350,000 cases in 125 countries in 1985 to fewer than 2,000 cases in only 4 countries, with India reporting only 1 case last year. We are so close to putting an end to polio forever. Over the last 2 decades, Missoula Sunrise Rotary has raised more than $200,000 in support of local and international service projects. Our club's special focus is the youth at risk. Every month you will find us involved in activities with kids and counselors, whether it's skiing, biking, pumpkin carving, barbecuing, family symphonies, ice cream socials, a night at the Osprey game, or probably most importantly, a nice breakfast with Santa Claus surrounded by presents. And we are looking for people just like you. Whether you're a veteran volunteer or new to community service, please discover the benefits of Rotary. We meet for breakfast every Wednesday at 7:15 in the Blue Canyon at the Hilton Garden Inn on North Reserve, and we'd love to have you as a guest. Thank you again for being here, and please enjoy the rest of tonight's show.
Thank you, Bill. It falls upon me to tell you a little bit about the Montana Rep and some thank yous, some very important thank yous for the people who made this evening possible. Let's start off with Bobby Clay and the Same Sky Tickets. Okay, let's applaud everybody. Brad Cedarberg, Arnie Didier for putting together the sponsorship package. Yeah. I have an idea. Let's hold the applause till I'm done, okay? Peg Novotny for doing the backstage, or rather the catering, coordinating with everybody at the university, absolutely. Susan Hay Patrick for just being there, just being there all the time. Bob Swanson for the beautiful PR piece. Mary Windecker and Community Medical Center for the gorgeous program. Michelle Eckert for the fabulous logo. Michael Peitzik for and Alpha Graphics. All the Rotarians who've put this together tonight and all the talent. Let's have a big round of applause for all of those people. The Montana Rep is the professional theater in residence at the University of Montana. It is unique. It is the only theater that is actually embedded in a training program in the country. I've been the proud artistic director for 22 years, and it has been a labor of love and a joyride from soup to nuts. And I have had so many incredible people helping me throughout the years that I can't even begin to tell you how much it means to me to have been working in this building with these people at the University of Montana in the drama dance department with some of the most talented, brilliant, loving, caring, crazy, enlightened people that I can possibly imagine. So let's give a big round of applause for the whole shebang here. And to the incredible talent that came together this evening to make this happen from our side of the room. Bobby Gutierrez, who directed, Eric Hirsch, who stage managed, Selena Chatlin, who does everything, Joey Sarno on the lights, Jason McDaniel coordinating everything backstage, Dan Hartman, my buddy on sound, and the director of the program, Mark Dean, and Dean Stephen Kalm, and all of my staff, Teresa Waldorf, and everybody who works in the office for the rep. I couldn't be more appreciative of their time and effort and passion for the theater. It makes my job a joy to come to every day. And so let's have a hand for those people. Here's one of them right here. Do you mind, Teresa, if I do a shameless plug right now?
I wish you would.
Teresa, who put together the snappy patter we do tonight, is actually a very accomplished comedic actress. And you've got something coming up, don't you?
I do. On November 12th at the Downtown Dance Collective, we are having an evening of all women doing stand-up comedy, and it's called Standing Womb Only. Yeah, thank you.
Think of that.
Yeah, right. 7:30 at the Downtown Dance Collective on Saturday, November 12th. I hope you can all come.
I'll be there. So, Teresa, do you think this audience is ready for some good old audience participation?
Well, looking around, I don't know if they've had too much to drink or if they just need a shot of caffeine.
Well, actually, what's more international than coffee? And here to sing about it is my dear friend, local actress, singer, cabaret star, and tonight's brilliant accompanist, Miss Adrienne Dussault.
Are you ready to sing? Are you ready to sing? Oh, good. Okay, we're going to have a warm-up. Let's sing Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, okay? Just to warm us up. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. Even if it's loud enough, it always sounds ferocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Um-diddle-little-um-diddle-I. That was fabulous, but we're not going to sing that one. But it's kind of similar. And I'm going to ask you to sing along on the chorus, so listen carefully. This is my tribute to coffee. Woohoo! I like to go to Starbucks, but the menu should be shorter. Too many choices clog my brain. I know I should not loiter. So to solve this problem, I am now a big supporter of using this one simple phrase each time that I order. Now listen, because you have to sing it next. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Sing it loud and you'll sound like you know just what you mean. Oh, they will understand it in Atlanta or in Reno. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Okay, everybody sing. I'll slow it down. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Sing it loud and you'll sound like you know just what you mean. Oh, they will understand it in Atlanta or in Reno. I should have done this the first act before they drank so much. Super grande mocha coco frappe latte chino. Okay, you got a couple more times to learn it. But you must sing along on the break. Coffee, 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 caffeine. Whee! Coffee, 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 caffeine. Whee! Okay, come on. Coffee, 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 caffeine. Whee! Coffee, 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 caffeine. Whee! For me, making decisions is something that I dread. Paper, plastic, toasted plain on whole wheat or white bread. Oi! I know my sanity is dangling by a thread. You think? Except when I buy coffee, all that needs to be said is, are you ready? Oh, come on, it took me 2 weeks to learn the dang thing. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Sing it loud and you'll sound like you know just what you mean. No, they will understand it in Tobago and Torino. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Where in the hell did you go? Oh, God. Okay, we'll do the break again. You do very well on the break. Coffee, 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 caffeine, wee! Coffee, 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 caffeine, wee! Let's modulate. Coffee, 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 caffeine, wee! Coffee, 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 caffeine, wee! I don't like that key. We're dang lucky here in Zootown to have the break espresso. Liquid Planet rocks my world, the loose caboose. Oui bueno. But if you're halfway around the world and need a cup of joe, I hate to say it, darling, but Starbucks the place to go. Oh, are you ready? Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. Name an airport anywhere, you'll find Java Beanos. From Singapore to Paraguay, when you need caffeino. Okay, get it together. Say super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino. One more time. Super grande mocha coca frappe latte chino.
That was so much fun. Thank you. Thanks, Adrian. And now here to sing Unlisted is Kathy Capps, orthopedic surgeon by day, sultry singer by night. And her partner, the talented Matt Heisel, co-executive director of the Home Resource and the song's composer.
Once your handsome face and that funny smile had a happy place on my auto dial, and the hours that we would abuse were my favorite daily news. Cuddle up with my phone at night, I pretend that it was you I was holding tight. I was yours and you were mine. Then you suddenly changed your line. Alone, though the days and nights grow colder, my telephone is giving me the old cold shoulder, and I'm wishing that I once resisted love that you gave unlisted. It all brings me up since we're apart. I only call long distance to my broken heart. a heart that you took and you twisted, my lonely, lovely one, unlisted. I know that someday we'll meet when my love life's never been leaner. I'll see you stroll down the street and assume an indifferent demeanor. I'll catch a surprise where fate'll flash the ring, the cold in your eyes, and I'll ask, how's every old thing? I'm a lonely girl whose life consisted of loving you, dear, unlisted.
Wow. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Matt. And now, with a bit more in the way of Irish shenanigans, Mr. Bill St. John with his reading of An Irishman's First Pint.
So I'm here to tell you a story about Paddy Murphy, who had long heard about an amazing family tradition from his father, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather, how on their 18th birthday, they were able to walk on water. And on that magical day, they would walk across the lake to the Four Clover Bar and have their first pint of Guinness. Well, Paddy was ecstatic. He couldn't wait. On his 18th birthday, him and his friend Seamus rowed the boat out to the middle of the lake, and Paddy excitedly jumped off and damn near drowned. It was all Seamus could do to pull him into safety. Well, Paddy was all dejected, upset, and soaking wet. So he went and found his grandmother. And he said, "Grandmother, I don't understand. All I want to do is walk across the lake like my father, his father before him, and his father before him." His grandmother looked down at him with his sad brown eyes and said, "Your father, your grandfather, and your great-grandfather were all born in January when the lake is frozen, you dumb bastard." Now I've got to take myself off the stage because I can't keep sucking my gut in like this.
That was Bill St. John with Missoula Federal Credit Union. And now for your listening pleasure, back again this year, the musical stylings of Satin, featuring Dan Smith on piano, Melody Anderson vocals, Chuck Hurt guitar, Bill Hafey clarinet, Ed Stalling drums, Jesse Christians bass, and with their selections, Quiet Night and Quiet Stars, and I Thought About You.
Quiet night and quiet stars, quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us. Quiet thoughts and quiet dreams, quiet walks by quiet streams, and a window looking out on Corcovado. How lovely, this is where I want to be, here with you so close to me until the final flicker of life's ember. I who was lost and lonely, believing love was only a bitter tragic joke, have found in you the meaning of existence, oh my love. Quiet nights and quiet stars, quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us. Quiet thoughts and quiet dreams, quiet walks by quiet streams, and the window looking out on Corcovado. Oh, how lovely. This is where I want to be, here with you so close to me until the final flicker of life's ember. I who was lost and lonely, believing love was only a bitter tragic joke, have found in you the meaning of existence. Oh my love, oh my love, oh my I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding street, moon hanging down on some little town. And with each beam, same old dream. With every stop that we made, oh, I thought about you. But when I pulled down the shade, then I really felt blue. I peeked through the crack and looked at the track, the one going back to you. Did I do? I thought about you. trip on a train, and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane, and I thought about you. Well, let's wait a minute here. That is so distracting.
Oh no, we lost our bass player.
I took a trip on a train, and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane, and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, winding stream, moon shining down some little town, and with each beam, same old thing. With every stop that we made, oh, I thought about you. But when I pulled down that shade, I really felt blue. I peeked through the crack and looked at the track, the one going back to you. And what did I do? Thought about you. Thought about you. I thought about you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Satin is very, very smooth. In all the thank yous, by the way, earlier, I was, I have to admit, a little remiss because I did leave out one very, very important person who has not only been incredibly influential in the whole Who's Who review, but actually invented the Who's Who review 4.5 years ago when Rusty and I and this lady sat down and decided we were going to do this event with to bring all of us together tonight, now in his 4th year. So let's give it up for the lovely, talented, my dance partner, and we will be back, Ann Guest. It is now my pleasure to bring out everyone's favorite poet farmer, Josh Schlotnick, lecturer in the Environmental Studies program here at the UM and farm director for Garden City Harvest, doing his poem, The Best Kind of Help.
Thanks a lot, Greg. So I have a really great job. I get to be thoughtful on many different levels. I work outside. I do things that I really believe are valuable. And often I think that that should be enough. But I live on a farm as well as work on one 40 hours a week. So I work all day, and then I go home and find some more work. On this farm that my wife runs, we have 4 employees. We go about 7 days a week for 6 months. Our 2 kids that are still at home are fully immersed in all this. And I find myself relentlessly busy. I cook for the crew 5 nights a week. I fix broken stuff. I do tractor work. I ferry children back and forth to typical Missoula kid activities, and sometimes wonder, why am I living this way at such speed? And think about my own life, remembering vacations with my parents and thinking, well, what are my kids going to remember? And then something will happen that makes me think of what the purpose of this really is, and I try and write that down. So I wrote this last fall. This is called The Best Kind of Help, and it's written to my daughter, Sophie. And this involves all that stuff I just told you about, so those are the things to listen for. Right? Stepping out of the truck, the just past 8-hour day hit me on the back of the head like a heavy pillow. Only minutes left now to scoop up Tasha and switch vehicles to get her to gymnastics by 5:30 and come back. Hand on the car door, body bending in, young gymnast buckled in the back seat. I hear a reminder of the crops on my list to harvest. Shouted from under the lilacs. Beyond, a huddled crew of workers chipping away at a mountain of scallions to bundle, clip, and wash, and more than a day's work, a dozen crops already done. Kale and cabbage when you get back, and hey, what's for dinner? Back at the farm, long legs striding to the field with boxes, bands, and knife, I stop halfway, drop it all, and spin toward the house to get you. Your soccer cleat blister flip-flops snap in each crisp step right behind me. Rubber bands on hands, 12 on each times 4, 24 bunches from one side of the bed, 24 bunches from the other. You talk of the school day, your raw feet, dinner options, like we were sitting at the kitchen table while your sharp hands blur in the curly kale, sleek as fish darting through coral. The boxes fill. You ask if I'm writing anything. Stuck in a poem dry as dust, I say. You say, start with a memory and show why it's important. I demonstrate cabbage harvesting. We cut 40 pounds for a box in just a few feet. My head down, I can hear your words smile. I know. Let's make gazpacho and grill corn. I'll help. Thanks.
Thank you, Josh. That was really great. Now we're going to go back into the little bit of the international flavor with Natalie Maurer from Wells Fargo and Missoulian's own Jamie Kelly to give us some Rio and some Paris. Here they are, Jamie and Natalie.
Tall and tandem, young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and as she passes, all the men, they say, ah. When she moves, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gentle. And when she passes, the men just look at her and say, ah. Oh, but he watches so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly. But each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at he. tall and tan and young and lovely. The girl from Ipanema goes walking, and as she passes, he smiles, but she doesn't see. No, she doesn't see. She just doesn't see. Now, take a trip with us to Paris. Darling, je vous aime beaucoup. Je ne sais pas what to do. You know you've completely stolen my heart. Morning, noon, and nighttime too. Toujours wondering what to do. This is how it's felt right from the start. Ah, chérie, my love for you is très fort. Wish my French were good enough. I'd tell you so much more, but I hope that you comprehend all the things you mean to me. Darling, je vous aime beaucoup. I love you, yes I do. Wish my French were good enough. I tell you so much more, but I hope that you comprehend all the little things you mean to me. Darling, je vous aime beaucoup. I love you. Yes, I do.
Thank you, Natalie and Jamie. Prepare to be stunned at the poise and maturity of the ever-lovely 14-year-old Katie Clay singing Danza Danza, Fanciulla Gentile.
Danza, danza, fanciulla mia, canta. Danza, danza, fanciulla gentile al mio cantar. Gira la giro sottile on the
Wow. Thank you, Katie. That was sensational. And now a man who needs no introduction. He's well known to most of us here. Raconteur, realtor, chef, TV personality, and entertainer, Mr. Bob Zimmerino, performing Odelia.
Hello, everybody. It is great to see you here tonight, although I really can't see anything. But it is great to see everybody here tonight, and it's great to be here tonight because, as we all know, today was the day, the end of the world. Earthquakes, fire. I actually was convinced that right before I went on stage, it happened. And all that practice for nothing. I even changed my underwear. Yeah, well, you know, my mom always said just in case. So, speaking of ends, I have a great two-word poem for you I came up with today, which was Momar, Nomar. You're a sick, pathetic bunch, and it's a pleasure to be here in your company. This is a dobro, a type of guitar that was actually invented to basically fill a calling. In the 20s, big bands were playing and the guitarist was always lost in the mix because there were so many other instruments involved. Bluegrass players were actually using the quill of a feather sliding across strings, and it wasn't very loud. Black musicians across the South had small-bodied Martin and Gibson guitars, and they'd play in a room full of people, and they had these great deep voices more often than not, but the guitar couldn't match up to the voice. Hawaiians were using something called slack key, tuning to an open tune, which this is tuned to a D. Not that it matters, but they were tuning this slack key, and they were using a slide across the strings, and again, it wasn't very loud. These 5 brothers from Yugoslavia, the Dopera brothers, the Dobros, invented a guitar with a resonating cone. And it rings out loud. Now, the big band guys didn't like them because it didn't sound so much like a guitar, but for everybody else, they kind of crafted a style around them. Nice slide sound, very nice round slide sound. So I decided that I wanted to write a song for my friend Amy, who is just a dear, sweet gal, and I nicknamed her somewhere along the time we met Odelia, and I don't even want to tell you why, but let it suffice to say I wrote a beautiful song called Odelia, and I would like to perform it for you now. Odelia, I'd love to feel you near me. Darling, can you hear me when I say to you, you're like a dream come true. Fabulous woman, amazing mind. Oh, sorry. Fabulous woman, amazing mind. Eyes so sweet and smile so kind. Odelia, love me tonight. Sparkle like champagne, smooth as fine wine. Sometimes when I look at you, I lose all track of time. Odelia, keep me warm tonight. Odelia, Odelia, I love to feel you near me. Darling, can you hear me when I say to you, you're like a dream come true. Skin like silk, fresh and clean, a scent of heaven when you're laying there next to me. Oh, Delia, love me tonight. A sense of humor, fabulous wit. When I hold you in my arms, baby, you're the perfect fit. Oh, Delia, take me home tonight. Oh Delia, I'd love to feel you near me. Darling, can you hear me when I say to you, you're like a dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby Z. I've known our next performer for many years, and every time I see her sing and dance, I think she's got that certain something. So here, to dazzle you with her rendition of Someone Like You, is the incoming president of the Missoula Downtown Association, Julie McFarland, and her own private dancers, Heather and Chris Torma.
That you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true, 'cause she gave you things I couldn't give to you. Old friend, why are you so shy? Ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. I'd hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I'd hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I begged. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Yeah. You'd know how the time flies. Only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the disguise of our glory days. I'd hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I'd hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I begged. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Nothing compares, no worries or cares, regrets and mistakes, they are memories made. Who would have known how bittersweet this would taste? Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I begged. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I begged. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. Yeah.
That was gorgeous. Some people just make everything look easy, don't they?
It was beautiful.
Heather, by the way, is the founder and executive director of the Downtown Dance Collective, and her leading man was her husband, the tall, dark, and handsome Chris Torma with Glacier Bank Corps. And I think we should thank Adrian Dussault again, our
Yeah,
accompanist. Standing there in the dark, waving. Greg, I think Lawrence Welk said it best when he said, "Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you."
Here's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true.
And now till we meet again.
Adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. And please join us backstage after the show for some champagne and some strawberries. You're all invited to come on back and meet the performers. But before that, we do have our finale. And so now, and the words to this song are in your program. So join Bill and Adrian and the whole company in This Land Is Your Land.
This land is mine,
Thank you.